back to Freshoutlook, everybody. I'm TWB. Of course, we've been discussing the inauguration of President Barack Obama as he begins his second term. In a moment, we're going to get into the conversation as it sort of collided with Martin Luther King Day, which hasn't happened that often in our history. But before we get the conversation started, I do want to welcome our all-star panel once again. Let's begin with James. Who are you, where are you from, and why are you here?
I'm James Braxton Peterson. I'm the Director of Africana Studies at Lehigh University and a contributor to thegrio.com.
Welcome. Jackie.
Hi, I'm Jackie Guzda, and I'm media analyst for Ebru Today.
And finally, last but not least, Yanek.
I'm Yanek Mieczkowski. I'm a presidential historian and professor at Dowling College in New York.
Welcome, welcome. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about sort of the confluence of these two events. As we just mentioned, this past Monday marked truly an historic event, two very special events on the same day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, along with the inauguration of President Obama. Let's take a look.
Off his inauguration weekend by joining volunteers remodeling a local elementary school as part of the National Day of Service. Obama was joined by First Lady Michelle Obama as well as their two daughters at the event.
This is really what America's about. This is what we celebrate. This inauguration, we're going to be, it's a symbol of how our democracy works and how we peacefully transfer power. But it should also be an affirmation that we're all in this together and that we've got to look out for each other and work hard on behalf of each other. So we're thrilled that all of you are here. We hope you guys are having a great time.
Vice President Joe Biden also took part. He joined volunteers at the D.C. Armory, packing supply kits for members of the military overseas, along with veterans and injured service members. Biden paid homage to Dr. King during a speech at the event, saying that America was on the verge of doing great things.
And Dr. King taught us that you never measure success by 1, 2, or 10 men, what they could achieve. You measure it by what all men and women can achieve. And I think we're on the cusp of doing some really great things, having nothing to do with who's in government, who got elected. I think the country is on the cusp of doing some really, truly great things.
Obama will officially be sworn in at the White House on Sunday in a private event with a small audience of media and family members. Obama will then repeat the procedure on Monday during a public ceremony in front of the Capitol building.
Yeah, that was from last week.
All right, lots to get to. Just some quick facts. It's only the second time in American history a presidential inauguration has fallen on MLK Day. It also fell on the 150th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation, the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. So a lot of overlapping here. So a lot of people are saying this wasn't just an inauguration. This was a day of symbolism. How do you guys feel, Yanek?
Well, Martin Luther King is one of Barack Obama's idols, and he even used the Martin Luther King Bible along with the Lincoln
First time
Bible.
it's ever been used, I believe.
I think so,
Right.
yeah. So it was a day full of symbolism, and two of Dr. King's favorite words were hope and struggle, and hope and change was the motto of Obama's '08 campaign, and struggle, well, in his inaugural address, he talked about our journey is not complete. He repeated that line 5 times, and I think that's going to be one of the themes for his second term, continuing to strive and transcend some of the confrontation that mires things down in Washington right now.
He also used the Lincoln Bible, we should say, which has only been used once before in his first inauguration. So there's a little controversy. Some people say shouldn't have been both Bibles. Some say he hasn't earned the right to use Martin Luther King's Bible. I'll get to some of those thoughts in a moment. But what do you think, Jackie?
I think I want to hear those thoughts.
Okay.
Why does he not deserve the right?
Basically, this is from Cornell West. He's sort of a renowned international scholar, activist. You guys may have heard of him. He's saying, he's insisting that Obama has a long way to go before he is worthy of MLK's Bible. That a lot of what Obama has done and sort of just things that have happened in this presidency, drone attacks, torture, war, I could go on and on of things that he just would probably gawk at. But what I say, Martin Luther King, but what I say is he didn't live in a world of terrorism the way there wasn't 9/11 back when he was marching on Washington. So a lot has changed. So, you can still have these sort of this confluence of ideals, but still have to, he has to be president. He has to do what he needs to do to protect us.
I think that's a great point. I've heard this before, that people say, who does he think he is, Martin Luther King? Look, he is the president of the United States, and he is responsible for leading us. That's his job. And if he wants to, I don't think he is comparing himself to Martin Luther King.
I don't think he would ever do that.
No.
Right. No, I think that he is standing on his shoulders,
Yes.
and he's giving homage to Martin Luther King. I say go for it, Barack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
you go, Barack.
You
You go, B.
like I said, I took that walk from the Lincoln Memorial to the MLK Memorial during this weekend, and I feel like if you're there, you can experience it a little bit differently and appreciate what's going on there. I think to having both of those Bibles, both the Lincoln Bible and the MLK Bible, suggests first the progress that we've made,
right,
but also underscores the progress that we still have left to go. You know, this president is going to have to answer for things like the NDAA, for drone attacks,
right,
for prosecuting the war on terror in much the same way that the Bush administration did. He's going to have to answer for those things. But we also have to acknowledge the fact that he wound down the war in Iraq, that he's winding down America's longest war that America never wants to think about, but the war in Afghanistan, and that he is changing his strategy and tactics for how to prosecute the war on terror going forward. If you look at all of his nominations, it's very, very clear he does not want to put boots on the ground anymore. He's going to be very, very reluctant to intervene with soldiers in different countries around the world, and he's looking at different strategies and tactics to continue to protect America, but to do it in a way that doesn't cost us lives and cost us the kind of intervention, collateral damage that occurs when you're actually engaging in war on the ground. So I think we have to acknowledge what we don't like about what he's doing, but then understand how he's trying to make certain changes. And Professor West, who I love and respect, you know, what does he say to Dr. King's son, who handed MLK's Bible to the president? I mean, they're the ones who are the arbiter of MLK's legacy, and they gave the Bible to the president to use in the inauguration.
I just want to point out a copy of the Beyond Vietnam speech from Martin Luther King here from April 1967, and he says from the speech, and I quote, "A nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is approaching spiritual death."
Yes.
So,
and he's right on about
you can sort of see the conflict, but you know, this is what Obama inherited. We live in a very different world now than when, like, again, when Martin Luther King made these comments.
Right.
So,
I think James made a great point, is that here's a president who is trying not to put boots on the ground in our warfare. You know, and you can sit here and argue the drone program. Yes, it is killing civilians.
It is.
That had, you know, nothing to do with our conflict. However, it is not killing more American. And I'm not saying American lives are more important than foreign lives. I would never say that. But I'm saying that this is something he's trying. He's also tried. He's also had cyber warfare. You know, with Stuxnet, he did that with Iran.
He's trying a lot of different tactics.
Right, and there's been a call, oh, we've got to attack Iran, etc., and all of that.
They want to attack Iran, Syria, they want us to intervene everywhere.
And Yanek, what do you think about this idea of a lot of people who think about MLK Day, it's all about volunteering service. Some people say it should be more about social justice and change. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I think it was a very important example for Barack Obama to be seen volunteering. I think that's entirely consistent with Dr. King's legacy. And I would add that one of the most powerful words in today's dialogue is diversity. And Martin Luther King was all for that, an all-embracing culture. And Barack Obama supports that also. You could see that in his advocacy of gay rights. So, you know, diversity is a word with tremendous power on today's college campuses. And we teach our students and our children to accept diversity. And I think Barack Obama espouses that ideal of diversity.
And we do too here on Fresh Outlook, because we like to cover a wide range of topics. And with that, we're going to go to break and change gears. When we return to Fresh Outlook, coming up, we're going to be tackling something that everyone's discussing, the strike of New York City school bus drivers. That's next. What's the latest? We'll tell you when we return to Fresh Outlook.